This video will explain how to conduct design research. Well, you have to know the basics before we go any further. Let's start with, what is design research? Most of us know that research is an investigation and the study of materials and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. But design research goes a step further into the overall strategy of how you investigate components of the study to effectively address the research problem. It differs from research because design research deals with a logical problem and not a logistical problem. Design research suggests an alternate conclusion to an investigation and study. Both design and scientific research involves data, knowledge, and information. All three seem similar, but each serves a different purpose in the research process. To find out who liked broccoli as a child and who didn't, we might conduct a study and use those percentages to discover if more children liked or disliked broccoli. This would be our data. Whereas the final write-up of that data after the conducted study concerning who liked and disliked broccoli would be our information. And finally, we gain knowledge from the information and experiences of the research process. When you start to think about the components of design research, many of those are individual problem-solving and logical thinking skills we use every day. For example, you have a 10 a.m. appointment and it takes you 20 minutes to get there, so you leave your house at 9:40. Simple, right? You've just used deduction to figure out how to get to your appointment on time. How about when you go to a restaurant you've never been to with some friends and all your friends order the same meal, so you conclude that it's probably good, so you order it too? You've just used the next component of design research, induction. What about that one time you were confused as to why there was a half-eaten sandwich on the kitchen counter, but then reasoned that your brother made it and was late for school, so he left the other half? That would be the abduction component. Another important thing to know is the difference between causation and coincidence. Causation is the act of causing something. An example of this is if you texted your mom to call you, then she calls you. Your mom calls you because you told her to. On the other hand, coincidence is a remarkable concurrence of events or circumstances without apparent causal connection. This occurs if you are talking about your mom with a friend when your phone rings and your mom is calling. It is random that your mom called you while you were talking about her. Next, let's talk about the 4 different types of research. Qualitative research is how individuals see and experience the world. This type of research captures people's thoughts, feelings, or interpretations of various meanings and processes. It is not about simplifying things, but instead looking at many dimensions and layers. Qualitative research gives an in-depth understanding of the problem. It is most effective when studying topics that are unfamiliar to you as the researcher. Second, quantitative research is about describing, simplifying, or generalizing things. It is used to draw conclusions about a wide population of interest or to test various solutions. The results are then analyzed statistically. Unlike qualitative research, this method is used to test or verify an existing theory instead of make a new one. Thirdly, visual research is about analyzing images or objects that already exist. This includes visual and material culture like images, forms, illustrations, photography, film, advertising, products, fashion, and architecture. Visual research can be used along with qualitative and quantitative research. Lastly, applied research enables practitioners to investigate and evaluate their own work. The 2 main areas of this type of research are practice-based and practice-led. Practice-based research is when a creative artifact is the basis of a study. Practice-led is when the research leads to a new understanding about the design practice itself. Unlike the other types of research, applied research is inner-directed. Inner-directed research is focused on the actual problem and not external factors that are associated with the problem. Before we go on any further, let's talk about ethics. Ethical standards are the universally accepted guideline that every researcher should follow. These standards protect the well-being of the participants, conductors of the research, and the results of the research, and the environment where the study is taking place. Examples of such ethical standards whilst conducting research would go something like this. Be sensitive to the participants' safety, don't deceive the participants or tamper with the conclusions derived from the research, and consider the repercussions of the methods used in the research. Common sense, right? If these ethical guidelines are broken, for example, in a situation where the researcher performs experiments that put undue stress on the recipients, hurt the environment around himself, and then lied concerning the conclusion, Then, just on the pragmatic level, the data is skewed, the conclusions serve no real purpose because they have been tampered with, and you've damaged your own environment, literally or socially. Now that you know how to conduct design research, let's talk about a sample design problem. The bus system information at Miami University is not easily accessible, nor are the buses always on time, which leads students missing their bus or becoming late. This is our problem and we need a solution. We conducted qualitative research by analyzing individuals who frequently use the Miami University bus system. As researchers who weren't very familiar with this topic, this was a good type of research to conduct. We found out that students think the bus schedule online is hard to read and frankly inaccurate most of the time. Students suggested having an app that tracks the buses around campus so that they can have an accurate time frame as to when they need to be at the bus stops. In addition to qualitative research, we ran some visual research tests. We analyzed the current Bacarda website and schedules. We also looked at other universities' bus schedules to compare. Finally, we looked at current applications for tracking travel, like Uber and Lyft. Our solution would be to implement an application similar to the Uber app for the Miami University bus system. This would enable students to track their buses and easily access the bus schedules. Now you've learned the fundamentals of design research.